Hello, friends. Welcome back to HT Wisdom, where we speak from the heart and honor the wisdom that comes with age. Have you ever found yourself turning down more invitations than you used to? Maybe you're wondering why visiting people doesn't feel quite the same anymore, and you're not alone. Today's video is for you. We're going to talk about 6 surprising but honest reasons why many folks over 70 start seeing others less often, and why that's perfectly okay. If you've ever felt this shift and didn't know how to explain it, stay with us. You'll feel seen, understood, and empowered. Let's be honest, getting older teaches you a lot. But one of the biggest lessons is that your energy has limits. When we were younger, it seemed like we could run all day, work a full shift, run errands, cook dinner, and still have the strength to visit friends or go to a social event. But now, every choice has to be more intentional. Driving across town for a short visit, standing around at a busy gathering, or spending hours in conversation can leave you more drained than fulfilled. And guess what? That's not selfish. That's wise. Over time, we start learning that not everyone deserves a slice of our limited energy. It's not about being unfriendly or closed off, it's about choosing where we invest our time. These days, many seniors are saying, if it doesn't bring me peace, joy, or meaning, I don't need it in my life. And there's strength in that. You begin to ask, is this visit going to uplift me? Or is it going to leave me feeling tired or emotionally drained? The truth is, casual visits and small talk just don't feel as necessary anymore. Many older adults find that they'd rather have fewer but richer conversations with people who truly understand and value them. Instead of forcing shallow interactions out of habit or guilt, take a moment to think back. How many times have you gone somewhere out of obligation, only to sit there watching the clock, wishing you were home in your favorite chair, sipping coffee and reading a good book? That feeling matters. That instinct is worth honoring. Because your time, your energy, and your peace are priceless. And as you grow wiser, you begin to realize something else. Your mental and emotional well-being matters just as much as your physical energy. That's where we're heading next. In part 2, we'll talk about the silent stress that sometimes comes with social visits, the gossip, the conflict, the emotional toll, and why many seniors are choosing to protect their peace by stepping back from situations that bring more tension than joy. Stick around, because this next part will help you feel even more confident about putting your well-being first. There comes a time in life when your peace of mind becomes non-negotiable. And for many older adults, that time is now. In our younger years, we often tolerated things just to keep the peace, the family tension, the gossip, the backhanded comments at gatherings. We went to events because it was expected, smiled through uncomfortable conversations, and walked away feeling emotionally worn out. But with age comes clarity. And many folks over 70 are realizing, you don't have to do that anymore. As you grow older, you learn that not every invitation deserves a yes, especially if it costs you your peace. You're no longer willing to spend time in environments that leave you feeling more stressed than fulfilled. Whether it's an argumentative sibling, a neighbor who always has something negative to say, or a friend group stuck in the same old drama, you start asking yourself, why am I still showing up for this? And if you can't come up with a good answer, that's your answer. Let's take Helen, for example. She used to visit certain family members every week, even though the visits always ended in conflict or criticism. One day, she asked herself a simple but powerful question: why am I choosing discomfort over peace? Since then, she's made it a priority to spend time with people who lift her up instead of wear her down. And you know what? She's never felt more in control of her life. Choosing peace over pressure doesn't make you rude. It makes you wise. You're not running from people. You're simply done tolerating what doesn't serve your well-being. The people who love you won't make you feel guilty for setting boundaries. In fact, they'll support you for protecting your health, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now here's the beautiful part. When you stop saying yes to every stressful situation, you free up space for something much more meaningful, comfort. And often, that comfort is waiting right at home. In part 3, we'll explore how your home becomes your sanctuary as you get older. And why so many seniors are choosing to stay put rather than go out, not because they're lonely, but because they're finally content. Stay with us. You won't want to miss it. There's something special about being home that just can't be replaced. For many older adults, home isn't just a place, it's your sanctuary, your safe haven. It's where the coffee tastes just right, where your favorite chair knows the shape of your back, and where every corner holds a memory or a sense of peace. As we get older, that feeling of comfort and control becomes more important than ever. Gone are the days when we felt pressure to constantly be out and about, running from one event to the next just to stay connected. These days, many seniors are discovering that staying home isn't about isolating yourself, it's about embracing peace. After all, your home is designed around you. You know where everything is. You don't have to adjust to anyone else's schedule. And you're surrounded by things that make you feel grounded, safe, and whole. Think about it. How many times have you gone to visit someone only to feel uncomfortable, tired, or out of place? Maybe their home is too noisy, the chairs are too stiff, or the conversation never quite makes you feel welcome. Compare that to waking up in your own bed, drinking from your favorite mug, and knowing the day is yours to shape. That sense of familiarity is not only comforting, it's healing. And it's okay to say no to social plans that pull you away from that peace. Bill, a retired truck driver from Ohio, used to say yes to every invitation, even the ones he didn't enjoy. But over time, he realized he was counting the minutes until he could leave. Now, he invites people into his space, on his terms, and he's found that socializing feels a lot better when you don't have to sacrifice your comfort. So no, you're not being antisocial. You're choosing intentional living, and that's something to be proud of. And when you do invite someone into your space, it's because you want to, not because you have to. This leads us to another powerful shift that happens as we age, realizing that you don't need a crowd to feel connected. In part 4, we'll talk about how older adults are letting go of the pressure to maintain large social circles and focusing instead on quality over quantity, nurturing the relationships that truly matter. As we move through life, one of the most freeing realizations we come to is this: we don't need 100 people around us to feel fulfilled, just a few good ones. When we were younger, it was easy to get caught up in the social whirlwind. We filled our calendars with lunches, parties, and phone calls, thinking that staying busy meant staying connected. But as we age, something shifts. We start looking at relationships differently. It's no longer about how many people we know, it's about how we feel when we're around them. Many older adults are now choosing to focus on the relationships that feel genuine, the kind where you can be yourself, have meaningful conversations, and walk away feeling better, not drained. It's not that you're shutting people out, it's that you're choosing to give your time to those who truly value it. Shallow friendships or acquaintances that once filled the gaps just don't hold the same importance anymore. Take Nancy, for instance. She used to call and check in with dozens of people every week, afraid of being forgotten or seen as distant. But over time, she realized the relationships that mattered didn't need constant upkeep. The real friends? They stayed close even without weekly updates. They understood that love and respect don't have to be proven through constant presence, they're just there, strong and steady. This stage of life invites us to build deeper bonds with fewer people. And that's a beautiful thing. Whether it's a lifelong friend, a close sibling, or a new connection that feels just right, you know who fills your cup. And you begin to let go of the rest, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. And as this clarity sets in, something else starts to happen. You begin to ask why you're doing the things you do. Are you socializing out of habit, or out of joy? Are you saying yes to others while saying no to yourself? In part 5, we'll explore what it means to shift your priorities, not out of loss, but out of growth. You'll discover how personal reflection plays a powerful role in how you spend your time, and why it's perfectly okay to choose you more often. One of the most powerful things about growing older is realizing that you finally get to live life on your own terms. For decades, many of us lived by the calendar, raising families, going to work, making it to church, school events, social functions, and everything in between. Our days were full, often for everyone but ourselves. But now, in this season of life, you're allowed, encouraged, even, to pause and ask, what truly matters to me now? This isn't about giving up or withdrawing, it's about rebalancing your priorities. Things that once felt urgent, being seen, staying busy, saying yes to every invite, begin to fade in importance. Instead, peace, purpose, and personal joy start rising to the top. You may find more fulfillment in a quiet afternoon on the porch than at a crowded event. And that's not only okay, it's a sign of growth. Robert, a retired teacher in his early 70s, once said that the busiest years of his life weren't always the most meaningful. Now, he fills his days with things that actually bring him peace: birdwatching, tending to his garden, journaling, or simply enjoying his morning coffee without rushing. He's still social when he wants to be, but now, it's on his terms. The beauty of aging is that you begin to realize you no longer have to prove anything. You've already done the hard work, and now it's your time to choose what fills your soul instead of your schedule. Whether it's reflecting on your blessings, starting a new hobby, or finally getting some well-deserved rest, the choices are yours, and they should be made with intention. And here's where the next realization often comes in. Once you've rebalanced your life and let go of that old pressure to be everywhere at once, you begin to see your relationships in a new light too. You understand that true friendships don't need constant tending to stay strong. In part 6, we'll talk about how the best relationships aren't built on how often you visit or call, but on mutual understanding, respect, and a deep bond that doesn't fade with time. Stay with us. You'll feel comforted and encouraged by what's coming next. There's a beautiful kind of freedom that comes with age, the freedom to understand that real friendship doesn't depend on how often you see someone. When we were younger, we thought we had to call every week, drop by often, send holiday cards without fail, and show up for every birthday or event. We believed that frequency equaled closeness. But now, many older adults have come to see that the truest bonds aren't measured in visits, they're measured in understanding. The friends who really matter don't need constant reminders of your love or loyalty. They just know. You could go weeks, even months, without seeing them, but when you do reconnect, it's like no time has passed. You pick up right where you left off, sharing stories, laughter, and comfort in a way that only deep friendship allows. Take Eleanor, for example. In her 60s and 70s, she worried that if she didn't visit people regularly, they'd think she didn't care. But life changed. Her mobility became limited, and her energy wasn't what it used to be. To her surprise, the friends who truly loved her never made her feel guilty. They understood. They checked in with kindness, not complaints. And that's when Eleanor realized, the friendships that last don't demand, they give. There's no rule that says you have to show up all the time to prove you care. The right people will never make you feel guilty for protecting your time, energy, or peace. They'll celebrate your boundaries and still meet you with warmth whenever you're ready to connect. And if someone does make you feel bad for not visiting more, maybe it's time to ask if that relationship is truly life-giving, or just based on expectations. At this point in life, it's not about proving yourself anymore. It's about being yourself, honoring what matters most and choosing relationships that respect your journey. That brings us to one final truth, perhaps the most empowering of all. In part 7, we'll talk about how, after years of doing what was expected, many seniors are now choosing to live with purpose and peace, not pressure. You'll see how prioritizing intention over obligation can bring you the joy and fulfillment you've earned. Stay with us. This is where everything starts to come together. One of the biggest misconceptions about aging is that spending more time alone must mean you're lonely. But let's set the record straight. Being alone isn't the same as being lonely. In fact, many older adults are finding that solitude is not something to fear, but something to welcome. You've spent decades giving, doing, and showing up for others. Now, for perhaps the first time in your life, you get to slow down and simply be, and that stillness can be deeply nourishing. We live in a culture that often glorifies busyness. If your calendar's full, you must be doing something right. But truthfully, as we get older, many of us begin to find more joy in less noise, less pressure, less running around. You begin to appreciate a quiet afternoon, a slow walk through the neighborhood, or time spent with your thoughts, and that's not loneliness. That's peace. Think of Mary, a widow in her late 70s. At first, she felt uncertain when her days became quieter. But over time, she noticed something beautiful. She wasn't sad, she was centered. Her days were filled with reading, prayer, tending to her plants, and calling her grandkids when she felt inspired, not out of obligation. What she feared might feel empty turned out to be full of meaning. And the truth is, when you stop filling your life with noise and start embracing peace, you get to reconnect with yourself. You remember who you are outside of all the roles you played: parent, spouse, employee, volunteer. You come home to you. And from that place of calm, You're able to show up more fully in the moments and relationships that truly matter. So if you've been worried that your quiet life means you've faded into the background, let us remind you, you haven't disappeared, you've just grown deeper. And that depth brings a wisdom and contentment that younger years rarely allow space for. And that leads us to our final point. In part 8, we'll wrap up this journey by talking about the freedom that comes from living with intention, not obligation. We'll explore how your choices, who you see, how you spend your time, and what you focus on, can bring lasting joy, not just to you, but to everyone around you. Let's finish strong together. One of the most powerful gifts that comes with age is the ability to say, I don't have to do this anymore, unless it brings me peace. After years, maybe even decades, of living by schedules, social expectations, and the needs of others, many seniors are discovering the quiet freedom of living with intention, not obligation. When we're younger, we often say yes because we feel like we should, out of duty, guilt, habit, or fear of disappointing someone. We go to events we don't enjoy, engage in conversations that leave us drained, and visit people who don't pour into us. But eventually, you realize that every yes you give to something that doesn't serve you is a no to something that might. Now, in this chapter of life, you get to be more deliberate. You ask yourself, does this bring me joy? Does it add peace or purpose to my day? And if the answer is no, then it's okay to say no. Not out of rudeness or rebellion, but out of wisdom. Because you've earned the right to spend your time in ways that make you feel alive, calm, and fulfilled. Take George, for example. For most of his life, he was the go-to guy, the one everyone called on. But at 75, he realized he was still living to meet everyone else's expectations. Now, he only commits to what truly matters to him: church on Sunday, his weekly coffee group with fellow veterans, and time with his grandkids. Everything else gets a kind but firm, maybe next time. Living with intention doesn't mean cutting people off or never going out. It simply means you're no longer operating on autopilot. You've slowed down enough to listen to your heart, and it's telling you what really matters now. And that's the perfect place to leave off today. In our final conclusion, we're going to pull everything together, this journey of rediscovery, boundaries, peace, and purposeful living, and remind you why every step you've taken toward a more intentional life is not only valid, but truly beautiful. Let's finish this together, with a sense of confidence, joy, and wisdom for the road ahead. As we wrap up this journey, I want you to take a deep breath and remember this. You have nothing to prove to anyone. Every choice you make to protect your peace, guard your energy, or stay home instead of visiting is not a sign of pulling away, it's a sign of wisdom. You've lived, you've given, you've shown up for others more times than you can count. Now, it's your turn to show up for yourself. You are not selfish, you are thoughtful, and you are finally allowing yourself to live with the grace, intention, and freedom you've earned. If today's video spoke to your heart, I hope it reminded you that your value isn't measured by how often you show up in someone's living room, but by how deeply you live, love, and care. Thank you for sharing this time with us. Leave a comment and let us know which part of this message touched you most. We truly want to hear from you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs this encouragement. From all of us at HT Wisdom, you matter. And your peace matters even more.